The most prestigious Czech and Slovak virtual racing series is back. The best drivers from Czechia and Slovakia, competing in 12 races on iRacing. Who is going to win the championship trophy? That's Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP 2021. Welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP 2021 season. We're in Belgium for the last race before the summer break. The next opportunity for these drivers to score points won't come until the end of August, so the pressure is on. My name is Justin Sutton, and joining me for today's race, it is, of course, Chris Buxton.
Beautiful Ardennes Forest greets us here at Spa. Any racing fan knows this circuit, and I am expecting this to be absolutely action-packed, as it always is here at VGP. So it's the LPs on top once again. Podstarter and Prachanda leading the way, but Sirotec and Vizzy level on 81 points. Third and fourth, Nadlik and Matusiak not far behind, fifth and sixth. They're towards the bottom end of the table as well. Still lots of positions to figure out. Karni, Rzovsky level on points. Ryger, Moritz and Verkolchek all level on 15 as well. So much to do with Jan Secret scoring his first points of the season last time out of Silverstone. So plenty of honours to fight for. Team-wise, Entropic still holding a lead, but only by 15 points, which is, with 5 rounds remaining, is easily overcomable by ERT. So not only do we have to have LP as the winning initials, your team name has to start with an E as well. But ESET and Lenovo level on 116 as well. Still plenty to race for. Worth noting that we have a car number change as well. Lucas Podstarter changing his car number to the number 12 in honour of the late great Antoine Hubert. But a few penalties to talk about as well. David Pachanda starting from last, as Lucas Rzovsky as well starting from the tail end of the grid due to a reprimand. Jan Secret actually starting from the pit lane. It gets even worse for the TP Link number 13. So they've got to overcome their issues from Silverstone, but anything can happen in these single-seater cars. They are a big old handful to deal with, and our drivers have got to adjust to them pretty quickly.
Here are the conditions for today's race. 18 degrees Celsius, air temperature 36 degrees Celsius, track temperature partly cloudy, with pretty strong winds actually, 7 miles per hour as we saw at the moment there, just having to look down, Radion down at Eau Rouge. And here is the grid. It is an all-entropic front row, actually, with Lucas Pachada starting down in 4th position. Martin Nadlik, another top 5 qualifying. He starts from 5th position alongside Lubomir Moritz. Eric Vizzy, better qualifying this time, into 7th position. Krejcia into the top 10. I'm sure he's going to be really happy about that. Kujela and Ryger in between the two of them. Michael Lehman starting from outside the top 10. Surprising about that one. He's been quick all season. Martin Sirotec as well, one of the new championship contenders up in the front echelons area, but he's going to be starting from a little bit further back this time. Alish Danda down in 16th, Stepanovsky down in 18th, and that is how they will be lining up for today's race. Again, we are going to be racing at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Looking forward to this one. An absolute favorite of myself, certainly. Lots of fans around the world preparing to go racing as the lights are going to go out. Again, the Entropic drivers on the front row. It's a short run down towards turn 1 at La Source. Oh, but it's a very poor start. Actually, terrible start. He's going to lose lots and lots of positions, but Podstarter is going to maintain that lead coming out of turn 1. But look at that. Is he going to hold on to it heading into Eau Rouge? I'm not so sure. I think that's actually Sirotec that's going to take the lead. An absolutely terrible turn 1 is actually going to lose him several positions. No, I'm sorry. That was Thomas Cordy who takes the lead of the race, but he's going to be side by side on the Kemmel Straight. He's going to have Nadlik for company as well, so they're going to be 3 wide. As that's the ERT car. He's going to go up the middle. Is Martin Nadlik, and actually, he just about now backs out of it as they get into the braking zone there, but it is going to be Thomas Corney that maintains that lead as they get into Lake Home. Really impressive start, really hectic start as well. Lots of changes of position. Terrible, Chris, for the Entropic drivers. They dropped like stones.
Wow, didn't they just? Oh my goodness, what on earth happened to Matuszek? He just didn't get away at all. I think that Podstarter, I think he had a slowdown at the source because he just had no traction, he had nothing.
Yeah.
But Thomas Corney, what a cracking start for the ESET driver. Absolutely brilliant. Oh no, Matuszek! Oh my goodness me. Oh no, Matuszek was the lead Entropy driver. I beg your pardon. So it was actually even worse for Podstarter. Podstarter's down in 11th. Well, now Matuszek is behind him due to bouncing off of someone. My word, I had it wrong. I thought it was Matuszek that fell down the order. But my goodness me. We knew this was going to be a bit of a crazy race. We've kind of looked forward to this. Eric Vizzi as well, powering his way up into 4th position. That's Lubomir Moritz. He's just gone past the Ricard car. Actually, the Ricard drivers are doing pretty well. 5th and 6th at the end of lap 1. Also, something else to bear in mind that the top 3 were within a second of within a 10th of their qualifying times. Bearing in mind how long the lap is here at Spa, that is absolutely incredible. Well, I mean, we did anticipate a crazy race, and we're not being disappointed, and that's only the first lap.
Whoa, that is... Oh, yeah, and that is our first, I think, discarded carbon fiber into the source, and it is going to involve Matuszek. Oh, and that wheel is not looking healthy whatsoever at the front left. And unfortunately, he locked up all 4 tires. You could see he was on full braking, but was just too late, and unfortunately, right into Martin Nadlick really wants that first place position into Lake Home. The remaining Entropic car of Podstarter, and now of course the other one, Matuszek, will be able to get back into the pits. We'll have to see how long his repair time is going to be. But Lucas Podstarter is trying to make up positions here on the second lap of this race. And look at that. He's going to take a very different line compared to Michael Lehman up ahead of him, who has gained positions. Remember, he started outside the top 10, in fact. And this is the condition of Krejci's car. So unfortunate, too. I even pointed him out when we were going over the grid because he qualified inside the top 10, which was going to be really, really good for Krejci and the Mika Alfersim team as well. So, it's unfortunate for them. But he was on the hard tire as well. So that's really going to hurt him in terms of even if he does get back out on track. That's going to be really, really unfortunate. Sorry, I missed that there. What did that say? Was that...
As Rozovsky and Stenol have both retired. So we've lost 2 cars already. And, we've just seen a very unhappy... I think it was Matuszek's car.
Yeah.
We just saw it briefly in their shop. This battle for the lead. Look at this. Thomas Corney is continuing the team name beginning with E rule that I mentioned earlier. For Thomas Corney, what a great run. And Lucas Machado, of course, is right up there as well. David Machado, his brother, was well down the qualifying order. He's in 12th at the moment.
But he had the penalty.
That's true. He did have the penalty. But look at this. What a great 3-way scrap. There we just see Eric Vizzi, the blue car for Lenovo Legion, really not that far behind. We know how strong the slipstream is, particularly here on the Camel Straight. Martin Nadley goes to make the move. Is Lucas Machado going to try and part the waves? Make that 3-wide? No, he knows better than that. He's not trying to push the issue, even backing out before they get to Lake Home a little bit early. Doesn't fancy the side-by-side. Doesn't need to. He knows he's got the pace to keep up with them. But Eric Vizzi is going to make this conga line 4 deep in a minute. This is really making me think. Do you remember the Group C's we had here?
Yes.
A few seasons ago. They were magnificent. I don't think Mr... I don't know, who was it that blocked the pit lane? I forgot. It was...
Stefanko.
Stefanko, yes. I knew it was one of the MS's. I've forgotten which one. Martin Stefanko doesn't want to remember that one particularly. But yeah, that was an incredible race. But again, wasn't that a change of car that led to an incredible race here at Spa? Now, I'm not expecting the race to be quite that bad, but as we get a great look at Thomas Corney, is that a microphone? Is he in VR or has he actually got a microphone right in front of us? Oh, he's in VR.
Both. It is both, in fact. It is VR and a microphone,
I was looking at the insert thinking, is that something in front of his face? Well, yes, it is. It's a VR headset. So as a VR user, I salute you because it's brilliant doing sim racing. in VI if you've got the stomach for it. Oh, is Thomas Corney going to try and make a move coming into the chicane? Not quite. He's certainly piling the pressure on, though. I think he's really feeding the pressure from behind. He knows Lucas Machado is right there. And Lucas, this is a great opportunity for him to try and capitalise on another bad start. Remember, Lucas Podstata didn't have a good start. I'm not sure it was Silverstone, but fairly recently he had a pretty bad start and still worked his way back up to the podium. So Martin Aidling now leading the way for Benzina Orlen. And, Thomas Corney is going to be in trouble here. He's not really... He's close enough to get the slipstream, but Lucas Pratchada, there he goes. He's got that slipstream all the way up and over Eau Rouge. But Eric Vizzi is now well within slipstream range. We have got a wonderful fight for the lead.
Yeah, Eric Vizzi joining the party, turning this into a four-way fight, and Lucas Pachada using the push-to-pass quite late there, actually. He was actually up and over the top of Radion already before he had engaged the push-to-pass, whereas Martin Nadlik had engaged the push-to-pass sometime between La Source and Eau Rouge. So he was opting to use it a little bit earlier there, but Lucas Pachada got very, very close to clipping the back end of Thomas Corney there. But Eric Vizzi setting fastest lap of the race last time by. I don't know if that was with any sort of push-to-pass. All four of the top four drivers, by the way, are on the soft compounded tire, but then a few seconds behind, 4 seconds behind, as we got Podstata in the middle of a battle here as well, all the way up into 5th position now. Incredible recovery drive for him. Thomas Hora having another very exciting race as well. Lubomir Moritz again. Both the Ricard cars doing quite well here today. He's got his teammate Jan Rieger right behind him in 8th position, so maybe they can start moving up the field. The pair of them start working together. Martin Nadlik, I noticed, by the way, he used the push-to-pass earlier this lap in order to try and break that slipstream, and it's been marginally successful. He hasn't completely broken the slipstream out, but certainly you can see that he's built himself a little bit of a gap here. And here is David Pachada, the other ERT racing car, going around the outside at the bus stop
nice
chicane.
Move.
Really impressive stuff. Oh no! And then he loses the back end, and that is going to be a big piece of front wing missing off of, I believe that was the Mecca Alferson car of Michael Lehman, if I'm not mistaken. And that is definitely going to be hurting on the front left as well. Just barely going to make the corner. Avoids running into the barriers even further and causing even more damage. But that's going to have to be a very, very early pit stop for him. But yeah, Moritz and Rieger both on the hard compound of tire. They've dropped a couple of positions to some soft runners, but they're running quite high on the harder compound of tire, so maybe ones to watch later in the race.
Yeah, you saw Lubomir Moritz didn't challenge Podstata or didn't try and defend from him.
Not too hard.
He knows, yeah, exactly. He knows he's on the different compound, and Podstata, of course, has been our championship leader for quite a long time. So we're going to get a replay here of Michael Matuszek's start, and there he goes. So he went for the gear and nothing happened. It's like he just it's like a stick shift, and he went for first and didn't find it. I mean, that's not how these gearboxes work, obviously, but just. I wonder, it must have been just human error, and when he did get the gear, it still bogged down. So it was just a double whammy there for Michael Matuszek, as we now look at what is now a battle for third. That lead quartet has broken into and we've lost Michael Matuszek following his incident. I mean, he had such a long way to limp as well, so it could be that he's decided not to do it. Thomas Prohaska, I did see that both TP-Link cars are in pits, actually still so that's another car we've lost from this race. David Pachada as well, yeah, we saw that he just had that incident. I mean, his car looked drivable, but he had a long way to limp it home, so wow, 6 cars gone, and what are we, barely 10 minutes. Oh, there's another one. Who was that?
That was Nadlik!
Oh, Nadlik from the lead! Oh no! Benzina Orlen, number 88, Martin Nadlik. Oh, I mean, hopefully we'll catch up with what happened there. Oh, he must be absolutely livid with this. He's not making that right turn either. Does he have damage? But we can't really see from that camera angle. The front looks okay, and he's now got a lot of company there from Thomas Hora and Lubomir Moritz. Oh, side-by-side for Eau Rouge. Well, you can do it, but it's terrifying to go side-by-side through Eau Rouge, but he bailed on that one probably quite wisely, and he seems to be really struggling, so there's definite issues with that car that aren't necessarily visible, but from the lead of the race as well. And
Rieger just did a double overtake on the both of them, actually.
Yeah.
Really,
done.
Yeah, really impressive stuff from. He might have to defend that position though, as Nadlik is going to shoot up the inside through the downhill right-hander there, and he does indeed reclaim that position. He is again though on the soft compound of tires, but of course. This is all working into the hands of the Ricart drivers, and here is that replay that you so politely asked for, Chris, and they are so politely going to provide to us. I have a feeling he just got a little bit too heavy on the throttle coming out of that final corner, and that is indeed exactly what happened. He did well to spin it around as quickly as he could, tried to find that right angle that he needs to be on to get moving once again, but that has indeed dropped him down into 6th position behind Hora, who had an incredible race last time out, actually, at Silverstone. Seems to be getting along quite well here with these Indy cars, but not quite well enough to keep Martin Nadlik behind as he retakes that position on the run down towards Blanchimont, which is not a typical overtaking location. So he must have had a really, really good run through Stavelo and Curve Paul Frere in order to make that move stick before reaching Blanchimont. So back to the scene of the crime, though, back to where he had that incident earlier on, but no such problems this time around. He's able to keep everything pointing in the right direction, and it is still the 2 Ricart cars. And I noticed Martin Sirotek as well. He's another soft runner that's now caught up to the back of the 2 Ricart cars. He was using push-to-pass earlier on. We can see Thomas Hora actually enabling the push-to-pass here. I think he's trying to defend from the Ricart behind more so than try to attack the car up ahead, because actually Martin Nadlik has built himself a bit of a gap there. And it seems the push-to-pass is working to good effect there. In fact, it is going to be enough to put him alongside, and in fact, sail on past before the braking zone even. That was a relatively easy overtake there. I see a bit of smoke there through the second half of come on, no! And Martin Nadlik finds the barrier once again, clouts the wall with his rear wing, and I think he's going to pull off, and that is probably going to be the end of the day for Martin Nadlik. It seems that he had a quick car, Chris, but it was a little bit too quick and a bit too on edge, maybe. Oh, and Thomas Corney now is slipping down. This race is crazy.
More of this, please, as far as we're concerned. Although I wouldn't mind a few less retirements. We do want some people on the podium when the race ends. But look at this conga line here. This is pretty much 5th to 10th, I think. Well, 5th to 9th now. It was 5th to 10th before unfortunately, is the with Martin Nadlik. That's frustration taking over his right foot. Let's see what happened to Thomas Corney for ESET. This is into Les Combes. See that? No, it's not. It's into Van Chicane. Oh, wow. He just I think he
just unsettled the car, maybe?
Yeah, so he didn't avoid impact with the wall as we saw, but he seems to be maintaining pace, and I'm not surprised by that because the rear wing had come off Martin Nadlik's car, so that's not surprising. He has also retired from this race, as has Yancy Graham. I mean, he never came. He went back into the pits, and we haven't seen him since. So that's another disaster for TP Link, unfortunately. But this pack here is giving us some amazing action as well. I mean, the front guys do seem to have kind of settled into their own rhythm, considering how disastrous Podstater's start was. He's back up in the third already, although he's very lonely.
Wow.
He's about 7 seconds ahead of this conga line, and what is he, 4 seconds or so behind Eric Vizzi. But Eric Vizzi, we've seen him challenge for the lead before. Oh, and that's a problem for one of the ESET cars. Was that Sirotek that was slowing down?
I think so.
Oh, well, he seemed to have regained his pace again. It's a little bit deceptive. Sometimes the camera angle makes it look like they're slow at certain points.
It does.
But sometimes they're trying to get out of a slipstream or prevent a slipstream. Along the Kemmel Straight is one of the best slipstreaming options they've got because it's so long and they're hitting it so quick, as he pretty much dances past Lubomir Moraes. But again, Lubomir Moraes is being very sensible because of the tyres he's on.
Yes.
So, bearing in mind they do have to use both compounds, as we talked about before. So, expect them to expect the hard starters to come good, especially by the fact that, as you mentioned, the Ricart guys are well up the order. You would easily expect the hard starters to drop very quickly, and they haven't. They've really maintained pace very, very well. Bit of luck going their way. Yeah, obviously that's racing, but even still, they're doing a great job there in the Ricart cars.
It really does seem that this race, so far anyway, from what we've seen, is really benefiting the drivers that have found a stable setup. Because it just seems like some of these cars, and I can't help but use Martin Nadlick as a perfect excuse here, or a perfect example to point to. He seemed mega fast, unbelievably fast. Fast enough to win this race, no doubt. But it just seemed like the car was a little bit undrivable, a little bit nervous, a little bit on edge. And certainly after that first incident, I think what little confidence he did have in his setup was completely gone at that point. And then, just the problems began to compound, and he recognized, this is just going to get worse from here. And we now find ourselves, for the second time in the second half of this season, we find ourselves in a situation where actually just finishing this race will net you a point or more. Yeah. Once again, we're at a point where there have been so many DNFs. Vakulchak is actually just at the back of this. I hadn't even clocked that. He's another soft runner, so he should be certainly pressuring these recart cars up ahead of him. He's having a great race. A top 10 finish for him would be fantastic. Alish Danda as well in 10th position. He's also in the top 10. Stepanovsky just outside the top 10, but another one of those drivers that's gone for an alternate strategy, currently running the harder compound of tire and running ahead of some soft runners. So we'll see how that plays out for him potentially later on in the race. We're on board with the VR Victoria Indexfin driver of Josef Vakulchak, currently running in 9th position. Again, he's on the soft compound of tires. He's got the recart on the hards up ahead of him, and then another recart on hards up ahead of him, up ahead of that as well. So we might be. I think this is the right choice of car to be on, because certainly he might be thinking about an overtake here potentially. Will we see the push to pass get deployed on this number 68 of Vakulchak? It doesn't look like it. No, he's going to hold off for the meantime, just to use a little bit of slipstream. He's going to be too far back to do anything into the bus stop chicane, but it looks like some action going on up ahead, actually, Chris.
Yeah, I was just looking at that, just seeing what's occurring.
Oh,
a couple of cars up. That's a pit. Someone in the pit lane. That was Siratek, I believe. No, it's Thomas Garney, wrong ESET guy.
And Siratek.
I was right. So yeah, both of the ESET guys have come in. As a reminder, they don't share a pit stall, so so they can stack like that without compromising one of the drivers. So that's absolutely fine. They've decided to ditch those soft tyres. A little surprised by that. I thought they would go a little bit longer, but the hard tyres do seem to be performing very well. So no reason not to make that switch over. And it also gets them out of this packet a little bit. If they were kind of being held up with the fighting going on, it makes sense for them to come in, do the tyre change, and then get back out there. So we'll see how well that works for the ESET pair. As we look at the recart pair now, still sharing the same bit of track. Moritz ahead of Reiger, and for now 5th position. They're not really fighting each other. They're working pretty well together. They've lost the back of Thomas Horror. Thomas Horror now up to 4th position. Wow, he's high enough to get a nosebleed at that point. It's an amazing race for him at the moment. But yeah, coming back to what you were saying about the VR Dexfin guys, Vakulchak has his highest finish so far has been 11th in the season. So yeah, he's well on course to improve on that particular stat. Lucas Machado is enjoying a merry lead now. Nearly 3 seconds he built up over Eric Vizzi. Pod Starter is very much in no man's land, isn't he? He's got no one to slipstream off of, and he's kind of falling back from Lucas Brachada without an easy means of getting further up the field. Is Vakulchak going to make a move? No, he's staying there. I think he's just happy to stay there, he looks like. Oh, speaking of Lucas Brachada, there he is. He's and Eric Vizzi has followed him. Is Pod Starter going to do the same? Yep, the top 3 have all come in to ditch their soft tyres. I thought they may go a little bit longer, but they've run 20 minutes on them. That's fair enough. Oh wow, we got several people in. So Moritz and Reiger have come in. Oh, that I am surprised. For Vakulchak as well, so he was a soft starter. Whoa, steady, Stepanovsky. Now, bear in mind that these things do not have traction control, and that's already caught out several people. If you're a little bit heavy, a little bit excited with the right foot, then these things will bite you, and we've seen that already happen. We now look at Martin Siratek. Not everybody's doing tyre changes, I noticed. Lucas Machado seems to come back out on soft tyres. Absolutely fine. That might explain why the pit stops happened earlier. Not many people seem to have switched to the hards yet, so we're looking at several people doing several stops there as we look at the championship prediction if the race finished the way it is now. So yeah, that would make the championship gap between Prachata and Podstarter. I struggled with that combination at the beginning of the season, and I still am. Only 3 points. So we'll see if that changes. Whoa, Thomas Horror feeling the need to defend from a freshly reshod ESET car there of Martin Siratek. And the Ricard guys have come out still 6th and 7th. I think there's a back marker in. I think it's one of the Mecha cars. I'm not sure if it's Lehman or Kreitzer. It's in the middle of the. Oh, that was close. Siratek doing a lovely move there on the inside line, coming through Rivage. Oh, that's deep. Oh, that's. You can use that AstroTurf, but that was a little close to the wall. But he's pushing on. He's got to be careful. I mean, that's what Martin Nadley was doing. He was letting frustration govern his right foot a little bit too much, I think, which ultimately is cost him the race. But oh no, there's another one. That's another victim of the chicane. Oh, Thomas Horror as well for Big Shot. He was having such a great race. And alas, traction has given up on him coming through the Fania chicane. Oh, what a shame for Thomas Horror. Back underway again, and that's cost him. Oh dear. He's cooked the tyres. It's just giving him no grip at all. I mean, the hard tyres, they should still have some meat on them. You see he's not very happy about that. When you lose your head, it's really difficult to get yourself back into the mind space you need to be in to get that rhythm going again.
Yeah, exactly. On the bright side, though, we know he's fast. He knows he's fast. It could have to do with the tires that he's on. He was one of the drivers that did switch to the harder compound of tires. So we assume he's one of those drivers that's attempting to go for the one-stop strategy as well. Who switched to the soft? Sirotech, for example. Korony, for example, switched to the soft. We of course know that both of the Ricards have switched to the softs, but they were on the hards, of course. So, so they may still be on for a one-stop strategy. They did stop rather early, though. I don't know if they're planning to do 30 minutes on a set of soft compound. I'm sorry, more than 30 minutes, but on a single set of soft compounded tires. So they may be reserving themselves for a two-stop. But certainly, Lucas Pachata and Eric Vizzi were both on softs, and they have both re-emerged on softs. Interestingly, the gap between them has grown, and somehow Podstata's actually gotten closer to Eric Vizzi, despite being on the hard compound of tire right now, and Vizzi being on the soft tire. So, and I believe, if memory serves correct, and it may be incorrect here, but I believe Lucas Pachata did the one-stop at Silverstone last time. Lucas Podstata did the two-stop, and Lucas Podstata was the one that didn't win, and Lucas Pachata was the one that did win. So they've actually switched strategies from Silverstone coming to Spa here, and they've sort of switched advantage as well, too. So I'm very interested to see how this is all going to work out, because at the moment, it certainly seems to me that Podstata has made the right decision. He's actually lapping quite quickly and could, in theory, go to the end.
We will see. I do remember saying after Silverstone, I am never trying to predict the pit strategy ever again. Look at the face of concentration there on Eric Vizzi. So much so the tongue's coming out. So yeah, he's really focused on what he's doing. So that championship prediction is updating as often as it can. So there we go. That's how it currently sits. Just a 2-point gap. That's because the fastest lap has changed hands. Lucas Pachata has just gained that. So that's why the gap became 3-2. But yeah, there you go. You can visibly see how that gap has shrunk. It's now less than 2 seconds, way less than 2 seconds, between Podstarter and Vizzi. So that could well play on Eric Vizzi's mind if he could see that Entropic car getting very, very close. Then he's going to have a hard task keeping him behind him. Tyre difference or not, Eric, we know how quick Lucas Podstarter is. But equally, if Lucas Pachata realises what's going on, if he knows what tyres that Podstarter is running on, then he will obviously see that the lap delta between the two is not as big as he would like it to be. So that might be why he's pushing a bit harder. We'll see. We have no idea what strategy they're running on, as Thomas Horror has brought his car into the pit. There you go. Again, the faces of focus. Although I always think that looking at the face of Lucas Podstarter, and I mean no disrespect at all, but he always looks so chilled. Always looks so relaxed. Whereas Eric Vizzi, that's again the face of focus going on there. He's having a chat to someone. Oh, even scratching his head. That's right. I through 180 kilometres an hour. Well, sorry, 280 kilometres an hour through Blanchard. Well, that's fine. Just let go of the wheel. You'll be all right. But these things have got a lot of downforce, in fairness. So you're fine to do that. But you just look at the difference between how these two look. I'm sure Lucas Mostata is fully focused and he's really pushing on. But Eric Vizzi is going to be, at this rate, he's going to have a fair amount of company in the next few laps, I thought.
Yeah, certainly. It certainly seems that way. And I can't believe, I am genuinely impressed by Podstada's fight back once again, because we thought, again, briefly, just like we did at Silverstone, that this championship was about to swing in the favor of Lucas Pachoda, and it is at the moment, as the way things stand where they are on track, it is swinging more towards the way of Lucas Pachoda. But I mean, considering where Podstata was earlier in this race, that is very, very close for Siratek and Moritz. So Moritz making good use of the soft compounded tires. Remember last time those two found each other on track, it was actually hard versus soft with Moritz on the hard. So now that it's actually even, soft versus soft, it seems that Moritz is actually the faster of the two drivers. Also, I wanted to point out, Siratek and Corny pitted not that far away from each other. Remember, they followed each other into the pits. They pitted at the exact same time. But they ended up coming out of the pits like 10 seconds apart from each other. Wow. So Thomas Corny has, unfortunately for him, had an absolute mare in the pit lane. Stepanovsky and Kovarek are into the pits. No, they're just getting very close to the pit entrance. I apologize for that one. But that's moved Vakulchek up. So remember, he was running in 9th prior to the pit stop phase. He's moved up into 7th, and Corny, with that really bad stop, he could be potentially on for essentially gaining that position when he does come into the pit. So, things are continuing to go well for Vakulchek in the VR and Dexvin car. Unfortunately, Thomas Corny has continued to slip back. He's another one of those drivers that I think Chris has had a little bit too nervous of a setup for the race. It's a great setup, it seems, for qualifying, but when it comes to actually driving lap after lap in a long race such as this, it seems that it's kind of sending him backwards, maybe picking up some damage that's caused some extended pit stops potentially.
Yeah, it could well have done. I did see at the back of the shot someone came into the pits. Yeah, it was Michael Lehman.
Yep.
So he's coming in from 14th. He's a lap down, so has had a bit of a struggle in this race. We continue to look at Siratek through Eau Rouge, up and over Radion, still chasing off after Lubomir Moritz, who, really has come alive. Hasn't he just? He made the move. It was a good move he made here a lap ago, but look at the cap! Wow. And unless Siratek is either taking his time, sometimes the push to pass duties doesn't appear on the tower, so we don't necessarily see all the push to pass duties, and we don't know how many they have in stock. So it could be that Lubomir Moritz is just deciding now to burn the battery, as I call it. So he's just using all those push to passes. Podstata's got a back marker in between himself and his prey of Eric Vizzi. That could well hold him up a little bit. But Lubomir Moritz, he's really cracking on, isn't he? He's looking to try and break the slipstream to Martin Siratek, who now has decided to get his foot down a little bit, maybe using his own push to pass a bit more. There's Vakulchek in the VR Victorian Dexvin car, up in 7th position, so he's having a good run. Thomas Corny, as you mentioned earlier, not having such a strong race as Stepanovsky, who's now inside the top 10. If he's able to finish there, that would be his previous best has been 13th, which he's done twice. So he's really looking to capitalise on a stronger run. There's the other big shot of Thomas Horror, as we saw earlier on, not having such a good day. That's pressing on nonetheless. Michael Lehman, who we saw go into the pits not too long ago, and his teammate Martin Grejcek, the Mecha Royal 4 squad, not having such a good race, but they are still in the race, which is a very crucial point as well. As you pointed out, everyone now is going to be scoring points due to attrition, and that's the nature of these single-seaters because they're so different to the GT3s, not just physically, just because of how they behave and the amount of horses that gets dumped through the right foot as soon as you wiggle the big toe a bit too much. It's caught several people. It's caught a number of people out already. And that's the nature of racing. That's one reason why we love this series so much. These different styles of cars really put our drivers through their paces.
Also, it's worth pointing out with these cars that you don't have as many gears as you have in like a Formula One car or even, you know, some modern GT cars. Holy cow, I did not think that this was... Okay, he seems to have backed off a little bit there. He was getting very, very close. The closing speed there from Aleš Danda onto the back of Thomas Corney was pretty high there. I thought for a brief moment he might actually try for a lunge into Lake Home, but in the end thought better of it. But yeah, you have fewer gears in this car, which means you end up having to use first gear for corners like La Source and the bus stop chicane and stuff like that. So in a car with 8 gears or something like that, you can get away with using second gear. But you really can't, it seems, in these cars. Because certainly I've been watching actually a lot of... Oh, and that's a car getting nicely out of the way. I think that was possibly Stepanovsky. It was certainly one of the big shot cars, but I think that might have been Stepanovsky. Or maybe that was Thomas Hoare, actually. But yeah, you have to use first gear. And first gear is very, very difficult. As anyone who has driven a racing car will know, you know, first gear is very often the most dangerous gear that you could ever be in. And the lower speed, of course, that you're going, the less downforce you have, which means the less grip that you have, and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. It's a unique challenge for these drivers. And just for anybody who missed the race last time out at Silverstone, there is a new damage model as well for these cars, which hopefully we're not about to see on display here as Aleš Danda prepares to potentially... No, again, he backs out of it. I think that's the right call, though. He's thinking about, no, I'll just make the move on the Kemmel Straight. A little bit further up the road, actually, the other ESET car is being overtaken by Rieger, actually. Rieger making the overtake on Sirotek as well, so Sirotek losing another position to the Ricard cars. And a little bit further back here is Thomas Corney once again. That's a big, scary moment for Thomas Corney. You really do not want to be doing that. And that is potentially going to be an open invitation to Stepanovsky as well. He's, of course, going to have seen that mistake from Thomas Corney. And he's going to be thinking, oh, that guy is struggling. Didn't he start on the second row of the grid, and I've now caught up to him? So, you know, immediately his mind is going to be thinking about that sort of stuff. Oh, and look at that. Through the downhill right-hander there. At Brussels, he's really doesn't seem to be happy with the car through there either. Again, I think Stepanovsky is going to be seeing that sort of stuff, and he's just going to be thinking, oh, this is an opportunity for me, which means Thomas Corney is definitely going to have to go on the defensive here pretty soon, I think.
You don't often see a mistake like that going into the Kemmel Straight. I think Thomas Corney must have just maybe glanced back at where Stepanovsky was. It's the only thing I could really think of. He sort of took his eye off the ball a little bit and flirted with the grass, which is very dangerous in these cars. In the GT3s, you can get away with doing, flirting with the grass a little bit. But, I mean, we saw GT3s come a cropper here as well. Last season, I believe it was. We saw a few of them have problems down in Blanchimont, if you remember.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's not generally the wisest thing to do, but he caught it brilliantly well. But, yeah, that is definitely going to help Aldrich Stepanovsky get in there. Yeah, I thought Aleš Danda was actually being very, very cautious. Speaking of Stepanovsky, there he is. We'll see if he ditches those soft tyres. So he's been on those. I think most people pitted it around about the same kind of time. So he's probably been on those about 15 or so minutes. We'll see if he comes out on the harder tyres. But yeah, that's very spied from Corney there. I imagine that surprised him as well. If he did look backwards and then suddenly forwards and realised the wall is not in the position he thought it would be, that would certainly wake him up. But yeah, Aleš Danda, I think he was also being cautious because he didn't want to be the lead car onto the Kemmel Straight. Because again, as we mentioned, the slipstream is so strong that he would be a sitting duck. He had no chance of being able to defend against it properly, so he wanted to be the trailing car to use that slipstream. But in the end, completely that thought undid itself when Thomas Corney had that moment. Even still, we look at the other ESET car now of Sirotek, still chasing off after Honza Raiger, who made that move a few laps ago into 5th position. And Sirotek has fallen away from the Ricard car. The Ricard squad really set to score very, very well if the race were to end the way it is now. And it looks, also looking at the gaps up front, Podstarter has started to close in a bit. I think that gap was over 8 seconds between himself and Lucas Pratchada, but we'll see if he's able to well, speaking of that gap there, well, that's the gap second to third. Eric Vizzi on the softer tyres. I'm surprised Eric has fallen away a bit. It could be a setup difference, it could be just maybe not having so much of a good time on the soft tyres. Just saw Lucas Pratchada going through Eau Rouge and Radion at the top of the shot, a couple of camera shots ago. But Podstarter is still pressing on. He's not losing any significant time despite the tyre difference.
Yeah.
And I still think that he's going to really play dividends if he doesn't have to change those tyres again.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's looking really, really good. And the gap between Pachada and Podstarter has remained the same as well. It's been about 7 seconds for as long as I can remember. So it really does seem that maybe Podstarter set his car up for this stint specifically, which would be really scary considering how fast he was in qualifying. Yeah. But also, I just wanted to touch on the recart guys. So they started on the hards. They've gone onto the softs. So in theory, they don't need to pit again. But they pitted, 17 minutes ago, I want to say, on those those soft tires. So to do another 18 minutes on that set of soft compounded tires. Now, of course, the cars are getting lighter and lighter with fuel. They're not doing a lot of battling. Since they've gotten past Sirotech, it's been pretty calm and chill for them. So, can they go to the end? I don't know. I would be hesitant to try and make that type of prediction. But certainly, again, the important thing is that they don't need to, for any sake of any rules, come into the pits again. It's all down to that right foot and whether or not they can take care of the rubber on the four corners of their car. So Thomas Corney is down to 10th position now after starting from third. It's been, as I mentioned before, a difficult race for Thomas Corney. I feel like oftentimes it's very much the other way for him. He doesn't qualify so well, but tends to go pretty well in the race. Whereas today it seems to have gone the complete opposite direction. But yeah, it's not gone well for the ESET driver, unfortunately. He started way ahead of his teammate. In fact, remember Martin Sirotech. I don't remember where he started from, but he started way behind his teammate, and is now, of course, the leading ESET car in that 7th place position. Oh, he's into the pits, and so are the Recart. So is Rieger. So one of the Recart cars is into the pits. So that confirms they are indeed on a 2-stop. But will we see the other one come in here? Certainly, I think it's likely. If we're seeing Jan come in, then I think it's pretty likely that we're going to see Lubomir come in. And again, just as a reminder to everybody, Lucas Pachada and Eric Vizzi have to come in again. They have not fit the hard compounded tires yet. So the leading car that does not need to pit again is Lucas Pachada.
And he's closing in.
Yeah.
I'm watching that gap, and it is going down. So Lucas Pachada, and again, look at his lap time, he seems to be losing time. His lap time has been getting slower and slower, although Eric Vizzi seems to be suffering the same thing. So those soft tyres, I suspect, are done. So he needs to get rid of them fairly quickly, or he's going to be losing. And there you go, now that gap between himself and Podstarter is now under a saw. And there you go, just as I say it, he then gets very slippery coming into the pits. Eric Vizzi doing the same, yes. So now Podstarter doing the same.
Interesting. I think I maybe agree with this because might as well. He didn't drop that far back on those primes. He's still right behind. Maybe he should have waited a lap or two though.
Here comes Lubomir Moritz to do the same thing. Alex Dander, what's he going to do? He's already on the hard tyres. I'm also keeping an eye on the tyre graphic to see if that changes. Of course, the where the pit stall is will shuffle them around a little bit. There goes Lucas Pachada. He's now on the hards, so that's his day done. Yeah, Lucas Dander
Vizzi
is coming in
on the hards too.
Eric Vizzi's on hards. Yep. So They're done. So Lucas Pichada, that's what I thought Podstata was doing. He's switching back over to softs.
Yeah.
Now, if he can make them work, of course, he's going to have the potentially faster tyre with a lighter car.
Yep, exactly.
Ooh, but how much tyre life is he going to have by the time he catches up to Lucas Pichada? I can't imagine Eric Vizzi's going to have a hope in hell of keeping that Entropic up.
Nah.
I mean, no disrespect to the Lenovo Legion car, but my point's just been proven. Slipstream plus soft tyres equals done. But look at that. Look at the gap now. It's now knocking on the door of being under 6 seconds. It was 8 seconds 3 laps ago.
Yeah.
So Podstata now on the tyres he probably is aiming to be on. Oh, it's a battle of the LPs once again up front.
Yeah, and I genuinely think that Podstata has the advantage here on this one. I don't think 6 seconds is going to be enough. However, on that last stint, and by the way, I love the number of 2-stops that we're seeing here, and I wonder if, in fact, we are going to see any 1-stops actually successful in this race. Certainly, we'll keep an eye out for that. Alish Danda is one of those drivers who, he came into the pits, and so he's also pitted twice. So I wonder if that's a fuel thing, or if just the tires just do not last that long enough around here. Of course, a very different sort of challenge compared to Silverstone is what we see here in Belgium for Spa-Francorchamps. But I love that we're seeing so many 2-stops. But so I would say Podstata has the advantage, and at the moment it seems he's closing that gap down pretty quickly. He's already gotten it down to almost 5 seconds. However, in that last stint, Podstata and Pichada had very similar pace, very similar lap time. So who knows? Maybe Lucas Pichada is going to be able to match that. Maybe he could just push those hard tires a little bit further. Maybe it's just a little bit too warm for the softs. Who knows? We run into this problem quite frequently with VGP. We just don't know. We are not experienced drivers when it comes to these cars and these tracks and all of this kind of stuff. So all we can do is kind of guess. But certainly it is great seeing the number 19 of Podstata. Of course, he's wearing the 19 today, and it's great to see him moving up the field. It's great to see him now less than 5 seconds behind Lucas Pichada. Of course, these are the two protagonists in the championship in this 2021 Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP season, at least so far. We still have a number of races, and of course anything could go horribly, horribly wrong for any of these drivers, and horribly, horribly right for those that have maybe had a little bit of an unlucky start to their season. So plenty of things can still change, but I tell you, Chris, I'm just enjoying right now at this moment, the championship leader hunting down the championship contender, different compound of tires at Spa-Francorchamps. This is about as good as it gets.
Amen to that. And there we get to admire the wonderful beard on the Pichada once again. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is what racing is all about, isn't it? Wonderful tracks such as Spa, these incredible cars, incredible drivers, and the mixture of strategies we're seeing, the different cars through the season. Once again, it's the same two up front. It's good to see Eric Vizzi up there as well, although he's falling away pretty hard. I think whatever he may be, I don't know whether he's carrying damage. It's not always clear to see from the outside, but Eric Vizzi's early pace seems to have disappeared, and that's not a surprise.
No.
Also, there's another benefit to that, of course, because it carries points with it, so that's going to help maintain. If the race finished now, he would lose a few points, but not as many as he was looking at earlier. We've still got 5 rounds, including this one, to go through, so there's a lot of points still on the table. And now you just saw Lucas Pichada go out at the bottom of the shot there. That gap is just disintegrating. Look at the lap time difference last time around, 54.3 to 55.4, 1.1 second difference. Now it doesn't, I know the lap is nearly 2 minutes long, but at that rate Podstata will get up to Lucas Pichada. This helicopter needs to be removed. There we go. But equally, like you were saying earlier, these soft tyres don't seem to last too long. There's not going to be a lot of life left in those tyres by the time Podstata gets there. That's, I would imagine, is what Lucas Pichada is hoping on. That's why he's wanting to have the harder tyres towards the end, but just because of the longevity of them. But, we know how hard it is to defend here at Spa, and Lucas Podstata is a difficult man to keep behind you. So we are on for yet again another epic battle up front.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one. Also, I'm curious to see how these soft tires compare, or how they perform in the hot, dirty air of the car ahead. Because, of course, as he gets closer and closer to Lucas, he's going to start to feel that hot, dirty air coming off of the ERT car up ahead of him, and he's going to be potentially overheating those soft compound of tires and just exacerbating that problem that you're speaking of the tires just not lasting nearly as long. And certainly, the gap is still coming down very, very quickly. I think there's 5 laps to go. It's just under 2 minutes, of course, per lap, and of course, just under 10 minutes of racing still to go. So I think we have 5 laps of racing still to go. What was the gap that time? It was only 1 second compared to the 1.1, although it was almost 1.1, so it's still pretty big. For all we know, though, Lucas is driving to a delta. Sorry, I should be more specific. Lucas Pichata is potentially driving to a delta right now and just trying to keep his tires in the best condition that he possibly can for the inevitable situation of Lucas Podstata catching him on the soft compounded tires, and he just wants to make sure that he has the best arsenal in his armory in order to fight back against this ever-closing in entropic car, because it is getting closer and closer. It's now less than 3 seconds with 8.5 minutes to go, heading down towards Puan. This is going to be one of those corners where he's going to be picking up a lot of dirty air as he gets closer and closer to Lucas Pichata. He's not there just yet, but certainly he's going to be feeling that. Thomas Corney down into 12th position is all over the back of the Benzina Orlen of Peter Kujela in 11th position. Look at that. He's practically pushing him through Curve Paul Frere as they come onto the, it's not quite a straight, but it is a flat out section on the run down towards Blanchimont. He's going to have the outside line. Kujela with the inside line does maintain that position for the meantime. Back into the slipstream goes Kujela there, and actually Thomas Corney is going to, he's going to go very, very deep into the corner. That's going to be an open invitation, and around the outside they're going to be side by side on the run down towards turn 1, but I think the Benzina Orlen car is going to just about hang on. Can the ESET car find the inside line? Oh, that was a very late braking maneuver for Thomas Corney there, and I think that did have an effect on Kujela. I think Kujela did actually change his steering input there mid-corner there because he was worried about getting taken out. So I think that's an unfortunate one for him, but that's good news for Thomas Corney. Rejoining that battle for the lead, though. What is the gap? This is getting perilously close to going under 2 seconds. Will it go under 2 seconds down the Kemmel Straight? Yes, it will. And of course that means, though, no. Yeah, I had a feeling something like that might happen because the two of them were getting very, very close with one another. One's missing the front wing, one's missing the rear wing. I think I can imagine what's happened here, Chris.
Yeah, I think they've decided to have a bit of an argument, and both of them have come off worse for that. And yeah, well, there you go. You're seeing the effect of it. The leaders coming through to lap them. Kvarik, I think it is. I beg your pardon. Thomas Corney staying well out of the way, and quite rightly said. There is the Benzina car of Kujala. He's doing the right thing and staying out of the way, but. Oh, that was a shame. We saw them nearly come together here. Now we're going to see it from Peter Kujela's viewpoint. And yeah, I think we know what's going to happen here. We know what the result was, but that was an exceedingly late defense from the ESET car. Peter Kujela was right to commit to the line, but that defense was so late.
Yeah.
I didn't imagine that's how it happened. We saw that was not... I think you and I had assumed the same thing, that one had outbraked themselves and slammed into the other coming into Lake On, but no, that'll teach us for assuming, I suppose. But that defence was way too late, way too late from the ESET.
Yeah, I think Corney was a bit too aggressive on the braking there on that one. I think I would probably put that one on him, but it is not for us to decide, and of course the stewards will look into it. They'll be able to look at driver inputs and all of that kind of stuff, so they'll have more information beyond what we can just see, and sometimes it does seem very clear cut, and in fact it's not. So we always try to give the benefit of the doubt, but certainly from our point of view it certainly seemed that Corney moved multiple times under braking and quite late as well too. So they'll look into that one though. We had some penalties at the beginning of this race. It seems like we may have some penalties potentially at the beginning of the next one. But again, that will all be investigated, and we'll find out at the beginning of the next race. I think most likely. I'm not expecting to see a penalty come through with less than 5 minutes to go in this race, but who knows? It still could happen. 1.2 seconds, though, more crucially. Let's focus on what everybody really wants to talk about at home, which is, of course, Lucas Putzstadter, first versus second, second versus first in the championship, in the race. It's a lot of ones and twos for these guys this season. But we're going to have to find out over the next 2 laps. So yeah, I'm going to say 2 laps remaining if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
3 at most. Well, yeah, it's going to be 2 by the time they
I think
come
so.
over the line,
I think we're too far away.
I've been looking at the difference between the LP's lap times. Now, you look at what it is from the last lap, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. That's 4/10 difference. That gap has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So the rate that Lucas Putzstadter is closing that down has been slowing. So again, he's probably burnt the best out of those soft tyres. Lucas Putzstadter's probably kept a bit in hand, but he's getting very dangerously close to being in the slipstream range now of the Entropic car. So he needs to, if he's got anything left in those hard tyres, he's got to use it now. What was the gap last time? So it was a bigger gap between the 2 lap times. What's that? 8/10 of a second to Putzstadter's gain.
Push to pass?
Probably. Push to pass certainly being used now, as you can see on the tower. Here he comes. Yeah, that's a push to pass, all right. Yeah. Now, Putzstadter's defending the inside line. That's going to be pointless. He's going to be, Lucas Putzstadter's going to be well past Lucas Putzstadter by the time they get to Les Combes, and there we go. So, that looked a bit deep. Is Lucas Putzstadter now? Is he smelling blood in the water? I wonder if he's seeing that those soft tyres are dead on the Entropic car. He's going to really now start to push with everything he's got left to keep the pressure on. But we've not really seen a great deal of Putzstadter crumbling under pressure, have we?
No.
So this is a risky gamble that Putzstadter has gone for, and I'm not sure at the moment it's going to pay off for him.
And you could see actually on the Kemmel Straight, just as they came up and over the top of Radillon, you could see Lucas Putzstadter on the webcam throwing his hand up, saying, "I don't know how do you defend from that?" Like the guy's going 20 miles an hour faster than me. There's just absolutely nothing I can do about it. But yeah, Putzstadter really has not been able to break away. I do wonder, I assume Lucas Putzstadter does not have any push to pass remaining, because certainly if he did, he would have defended with it on this lap previously. I would have expected that as they were heading down the Kemmel Straight. A little bit of a lift there you could hear from Lucas Putzstadter. He's not interested in going side by side into the bus stop chicane. He's very, very close to the back of that Entropic car as they cross the finish line, I assume, to start the final lap of this race. You can see he got a better exit out of that bus stop chicane. He's going to switch over to the right-hand side. Lucas Putzstadter does not defend the inside line. He's going to run a little bit deep, can't quite find his apex. Meanwhile, Lucas Putzstadter gets a better exit. He's tucked into the slipstream. There's just like maybe a meter or two between the two of them as they head down into Eau Rouge. There is a car up ahead, some traffic as well. I wonder if that's going to play a role. Look on the top left-hand side. Will we see any push-to-pass being deployed from either of these drivers? Certainly it would have been deployed by now if either of them had any remaining. I don't think either of them does. It's about a 10.5 between the two of them. Corny's out of this race as they get into the braking zone, though. No, Lucas Putzstadter is going to maintain that lead into Les Combes. It seems that Lucas Putzstadter just did not have that straight line speed without the push to pass or anything like that. He seems to be faster in the corners, doesn't he? But Putzstadter's just that little bit quicker on the straight.
I'm wondering how much grip is left in Putzstadter's tyres. I would imagine Putzstadter is wondering the same thing. He's just nailed to the back of the Entropic car. Every corner, Putzstadter just seems to be a little bit deeper for some reason. Yeah, is it just struggling with grip? There again, through Pouon, the Entropic car just doesn't seem to be able to hold the line, but seems to have the exit speed. That's the only thing keeping Putzstadter behind is we saw a little bit of tire smoke there. I think, yeah, that was Kvarik getting out of the way or having a problem of his own there in the Fania chicane. If Lucas Putzstadter's got anything left, he's got to deploy it now. The checker flag, he's going to be waiting for them. He's going to have to do it side by side with Ronchemont. Can he do it? He looked like he was quicker before. He's still nailed to the back of the Entropic car. Can he do anything about it? I don't know that he's going to be able to. This is going to be such a big move into the chicane. If he's going to try and do it, I don't think he's going to be able to. Oh no, that door got closed on him. I think. Oh, this is an opportunity. He's going to run down to the line. They're going to be side by side almost, but it does look like he's going to be Lucas Podstata just about by the merest margin that takes the win here at Spa. Oh my goodness me, by not even 0.2 of a second, it goes to Lucas Podstata for Entropic.
By the way, I think I know Eric Vizzi was trying to get fastest lap on that final lap there. I believe I saw him deploying the push to pass on the Kemmel Straight and also on the run towards Blanchimont. So I think Eric Vizzi had a cheeky little fastest lap attempt there right at the end. I don't know if it worked out for him. It is going to be 2 recarts in the top 5.
Wow.
Absolutely. I have to applaud them for that, because that is an absolutely incredible result. And also Vakulchik for VR Victoria and Dexfin in 7th position is a huge result. You love to see it. Podstata is obviously very thrilled about his result. Great to see, of course, with him running the number 19 today, to get that result in memory of Antoine Hubert. Absolutely fantastic. And in the end, Stepanovsky is going to get an 8th place finish here as well. What a race we have had today, Chris. This has been absolutely incredible.
More of this, please. I know I said it before, and I'll say it every single time. That's why we love it here at VGP. Our drivers did an excellent job of providing an incredible race. It's a familiar podium then. It's the LPs still reigning supreme. It's Podstata this time ahead of Lucas Podstata. Eric Vizzi again seeing the podium for Lenovo Legion. Then that incredible result for Ricard Sim. Lieben Mimmerized 4th, Honza Riga 5, Martin Siratek 6th, Josef Vakulchik 7, Aldrich Stepanovsky 8th, Alex Danda 9, Peter Gavarik rounding out the top 10, Peter Kujela bringing home 11th position for Benzina Rawlin. Been a bit of a mixture for him, but what an incredible race we had. Michael Lehman 12 for Mecca, Thomas Horror 13, Martin Crozier 14, Thomas Corney classified as 15th position. Those that didn't see the flag were Nade League, David Pachada, Sikora, Thomas Prohaska, Michael Matuszek, Lucas Rozovsky and Stanislav Senel. The fastest lap did indeed stay to Lucas Podstata.
Some really high-profile drivers there not finishing. Lucas Podstata, though, maintains that championship lead, 17 points ahead of Lucas Podstata. He's going to be really enjoying that one. And then it's another 56 points down to Eric Vizzi. It looks like he's going to be the next one to pass the 100-point mark. You can see Alice Danda in 11th position on 44. Stanislav Senel, I think, dropping down a position, actually, to his teammate there. And, of course, just Svoboda and Tower, the only drivers that have yet to score, and of course they're fill-in drivers, of course. In the teams championship, 21 points between Entropic and ERT after that result today. Of course, Matuszek and David Pachada not scoring any points, so in the end it really did come down to the two Lucases, both Podstata and Pachada respectively, to score points for their teams. That is going to do it for today's action. We will be back after the relaxing summer break for a not so relaxing race around Monza. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to the drivers and the production team. And of course, thanks to Chris for joining me. Have a great summer, everyone. Bye-bye.